Hey, welcome to the breakdown with your not so humble talking hairdo, Ben. Man, it's been a heck of a week in this world of sports. We've got a lot to cover today. Also, I would like to mention that my buddy Travis show before this show called the Travie Wavy, which is also a annual golf tournament, which you guys should all hopefully one day get an invite to. But he had the city councilman of Abilene, Texas, Dr. Travis Craver, and I can't wait to listen to it and watch that. It's had to be interesting. Another news, Ben went back to the gym this week for the first time since before Thanksgiving. Yeah, and I probably won't be able to get up out of this chair when we're done here. That was bad. And other news, Jan, the hair and makeup lady, actually showed up on time today, and I'm pretty happy with what she's done here. Got some cover up on, got all kinds of stuff going on. Got to keep it professional here at the breakdown. And let's see here. Sad news, but it's great news because ACU has had the most historic season in their history of the Big Purple school since the 1860s, whenever it was, become a university. ACU lost their second playoff game to North Dakota State, 31-51. But what a season. What an epic performance all the way through. We were worried about North Dakota State. We knew that was going to be a tough one. But what does this mean for the future? This is definitely, we have high hopes for this ACU program. And I imagine next year they're going to get even more transfers through the transfer portal that is the new Wild West of college football in all divisions and conferences. So that's going to be interesting to see what this offseason looks like, and we will keep up with that, and we will keep you breakdown listeners informed and all the local Abilene people that we know and love informed on what's happening in the transfer portal as it regards the Wildcat football program. And I'm going to get into the college football playoff picture in just a few moments because we have our special guest. I got him on the line here. I just got to get there. And I've got some questions for our resident super fan of the Bears, Big Frank. And we've been starting this program over the last couple of weeks with Big Frank because we always learn something from him, and he's just a lot of fun to talk to and to interview. We're gonna hit a little bit of NFL before we get to our college football. So all my college football guys and gals, just hang tight for me just a second. So, man, we're gonna go over so many things. I'd like to talk some sports movies today. I'd like to talk even some Christmas movies today, as you can see. We've got our Christmas trees here in the background. Let's see here. Hey, Big Frank, how we doing today?
All righty, Ben. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I was just going to talk a little NFL with you on this nice Thursday.
Sounds good. We aren't going to talk much about the Bears, though. That's for sure.
Oh, man. Well, I was a little surprised last week on that Niners game, 38-13. Ouch.
Yeah, ouch is right. I don't know if you've seen any of it. I know it was a West Coast game. I don't know if you had on there, but we checked out. That we never even bothered to show up for that game. That just looked pathetic. That's one of the worst ones I've seen, this year. It just looked like these guys are ready to just call it a year and figure out, who's going to be in there next year and go from there. It was pathetic. I mean,
Yeah, I was a little surprised because a lot of times after a coach firing, the team will win that next game. So I was kind of hoping for a win there, but
yeah, it was the buzz around here. They fire him after Thanksgiving and everybody's okay. That's going to solve all our problems, when they didn't realize that that's not really all the problems that they have. Obviously in coaching management at the end of the games cost them for a few, but they have a lot of other issues that they've had too with their offensive and defensive lines. Was never fixed. So they have issues. I mean, Caleb's on record here. I was reading today that he could be the most sacked quarterback in history pretty soon here if they don't. I think he's got like 52 or 53, and the record is like 72 or 73 or something like that. And if he continues to get sacked at the pace he's going, he could easily break that record. So it's just
whoa.
Yeah, it didn't look good at all, man. And then defensive wise, well, he's pretty good, but man, it looked like I could have swore maybe Kittle had some kind of communicable disease, because nobody was 15 or 20 yards of that guy every time the ball.
Yeah, that was tough.
I mean, at one point, what do you say? Hey, let's put somebody on this guy, because they're going to him, So,
well, it looks like this week. Is it true that I think the Bears play the Vikings on Monday night, which is a double header with the Falcons and Raiders?
Yes. So we'll get to see both of ours.
Oh man.
NFL, and you got those, they'll put those games out at the beginning of the year, because I'm sure they think that, well, Vikings, Bears, and Falcons, Raiders, it's supposed to be in the playoff hunt, and now they put these on. I mean, the only ones that are going to be watching are maybe the home teams. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else is going to be much interested in them. So yeah, that's who we got Monday, and then after that we come home on the next Sunday. We play Detroit. Then we play Thursday, nationally again. The day after Christmas, we play Seattle. And then we finish up the year in Green Bay. So, not an easy schedule, because all those teams are going to be playing for something. So it's not like, they're not going to be playing for anything. And, you're going to get a lot of your second and third stringers in. So realistically, we could finish out the year. We were 4-2 at one point. Now we have lost 8 games in a row. We literally could finish out like 11 losses in a row. I mean,
wow.
There's a realistic chance of that, yeah.
Do you think there's any way that they might bench, just sit Caleb Williams for the rest of the season at some point?
I was having a talk with my son, because we're always watching the games, and I went out to his house and we watched it, and I said, you really have to look at like the last couple games of the year. You want to see this kid develop. But I mean, at some point, you're going to play him, let's say, especially with the weather down here, like today, for instance, it's like 20 degrees out, but it's like a wind chill of like -2. Okay.
Whoa.
So you're on the 22nd of December at home, and then you're playing the 26th. So depending upon what the weather's going to be, it could be brutal. You're going to put him out there and risk your franchise quarterback tearing an ACL or an MCL or something and be out for the next year. I mean, you got nothing to play for. You got to be very careful about that. I would not be upset if they decided, to sit him or bench him and, get him going, especially if they can't do anything with the offensive line. It's ridiculous. This kid's under pressure constantly and, getting sacked. I think it was last week. It was like 7 times again, or 6 or. And their best players aren't playing either. Bosa was out, and I guess somebody else was out. So you think you wouldn't have to worry about any of that, but that definitely wasn't the case. So, yeah, I could see him. I would not have an issue with them sitting him out and just, resting him and hope he doesn't get hurt. I understand they probably want to play him to see, he's a rookie. They want to get him as much in-game experience as you can. But, at what point do you say, hey, enough is enough? Let's just, scrap this till next year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I got any news on the head coaching search? I thought we'd have maybe some more news by this week, but I haven't heard much. Have you?
with them firing at mid-year, you're not going to, or towards the end of the year, you got that tampering thing that they have to mess with. So they're not going to announce anything until the season is over. And then if it's after, if it's somebody that they want that are in the playoffs, which I'm sure a lot of them will be, it could be a while, but there's lots every day. There's new articles coming out. Ben Johnson is the big hot name around here, the offensive coordinator for Detroit. And apparently, through whatever you hear, he's very interested in the job only because of, Caleb Williams and what he could do. Mike Vrabel's another name that's been thrown around. Defensive coordinators that used to be head coaches that are doing good that, could bring in somebody. Cliff Kingsbury is another one that's thrown around because he's the offensive coordinator in Washington. And we even interviewed him here for the offensive coordinator job, but we didn't hire him. Okay, mistake there. So maybe he'd be interested in getting back to the head coaching. So those are the names that you're hearing right now. You heard a little bit about Bill Belichick, but obviously since he's decided to go to the college ranks now, that's kind of off the table.
Yeah, that's a wild one right there. That makes you wonder.
I think what that showed is, I think because of his age, and if you look at his last, his record over the last 2 or 3 years was like only 3 or 4 wins itself, after Brady left and, being an older guy and him wanting, the big thing with him is he wants control of everything, right?
Yeah.
He wants GM and everything. So I think that's going to scare a lot of people away. Whereas in college, hell, you got an athletic director, but they got to worry about other sports. He can kind of, run and do what he wants and get kids ready to play in the NFL. So I think for him, that might be a good deal unless someone in the NFL wanted to give him total authority again. But, that's not going to happen here. So,
right.
But those names that we're hearing right now, and, you'll hear more as it comes, but you won't hear about a hiring yet until after the season is over. And if those guys aren't in the playoffs, and if they are, you got to continue to go because you can't talk to them while they're in there. So it'll be an interesting search. So.
Excellent. So tonight, Thursday night's game, Rams at Niners.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one because they're both playing. What's the spread on that one? What do they got that one at?
The Niners are a 3-point favorite, and I think the Rams are getting hot. Kind of.
Yeah, I do too. I think you can't go by that Bears game last week for the Niners. Everybody says, well, look what they did. I don't think you can go by that.
Right.
I think the Rams are getting hot at the right time, and San Francisco is still decimated with injuries. I mean,
yeah,
they're third string, running back. Of course, they have Kittle, who could be a problem, and then you got Debo. But I mean, I don't think their quarterbacks really had that great of a year. And the Rams are really coming on. I like the Rams too, although the 49ers are at home and they both got to, keep on winning.
Right.
But yeah, I do like the Rams tonight. I think the Rams can do it. I think they got more weapons.
Well, you and me got the same pick there. I'm taking the Rams tonight. Now, this weekend, the game that I love the most is the Bills at the Lions in the afternoon slot.
Yeah, that I'm sure. What are the Lions, because they're at Detroit? Are they favored?
They're favored by just 2.5.
Yeah, that could be a close one. This is an interesting stat. I was just reading today online on Jared Goff, the quarterback. When he plays indoors, his passer rating is like 116 or something like that. But when you get him outdoors, it goes down to like about 70 or 60. So he plays much better indoors.
Right.
So indoors, but Buffalo was also coming off a loss last week, right? Didn't they lose last week? So
they did. I believe so.
Yeah, that's a tough one, and it's only 2 points. I'd like to stay, Detroit, and yeah, I know Buffalo's got to keep on winning, but boy, Detroit's really seems to be good, and especially at home, they're really good. And man, that Dan Campbell, he's something else, man.
That guy's a machine.
Well, you're watching he played the Thursday game was against the Packers, right? And I believe it was tied. He was going for the win, but he had like a 4th down and 2 there at the end of the game, and they were already within field goal range. But he didn't want to leave time on the clock, right? So he goes for it, which is unheard of, and he makes it. And, he runs the clock down to 2 seconds, and the guy kicks the field goal, and it's the game over. It's like, okay, I could have kicked the field goal, but you're going to leave almost a minute on the clock, and those guys can go down and either score a field goal or a touchdown. So I'm going to win the game. I'm not playing to lose.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And that's what you got to love about that guy, man. It just, I don't know. And, one of these days it is going to come back to haunt him. It kind of did last year in the playoffs.
Right.
When he went for it and he didn't make it. But, I mean, his success record is a little bit, better than not, So you got to, as a fan, you got to love that,
Absolutely, man. Well,
feeling more towards Buffalo in that game or what?
I don't know. I think I like the Lions call there. I like that pick, but that's why I'm so excited about this game, because I think this could just be a dogfight, like all the way to the end. You know what I mean? This could be a really exciting game, and I think I want to take the Lions because they're at home. I'm pretty sure they're at home, and but the Bills are getting hot too.
That's key. If the Lions are home, I take them. If they're not, I definitely take Buffalo, because outdoors, that's a tough place to play. And again, with that stat with Goff, I would definitely switch to the Bills. It's a pick'em game, I think, at home.
Right.
For Detroit, 2-point favorite. They're basically, giving you, well, you can pick either one, because 2 points isn't much. But yeah, if that's in Buffalo, that's a different ball game. So
I got one more question for you before I let you go. So on NFL, kind of historical NFL news, have you heard about this Brett Favre and Mark Gastineau exchange?
Well, yeah, watching it, you're always on your phone. There's always a bunch of apps down here, and they had the video of him. They were at a card signing show where, all these guys go to sign their memorabilia, and Gastineau and Favre happened to be there, and they kind of got into it. If you know the history behind it, of course, I'm old enough to know and remember it, but Gastineau was going back for the sack record back then when Michael Strahan owned it. Okay, and they were playing the Packers, and or the Giants were playing the Packers, and Strahan was going for the record, and he was going for a sack and barely touched Favre, and he went down. Okay, and he got the sack, and that sack broke the record that Gastineau was holding for it, and it was really a blatant, like, I don't know if you want to call, I don't know what the word would be, like a fake job or whatever.
It kind of looked like he took a dive, because I was watching it.
That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, just this morning I watched it, and I was like, man, that was pretty bad,
Yeah, and nothing was ever said about it, I guess, over there. They talked about it, but I guess over the years, Gastineau's gotten a little bit more upset about it, and they hadn't crossed paths up until, I guess, at this card show, and kind of got into it a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I guess this on Friday on ESPN, they're going to do a 30 for 30, and that they're going to do a documentary about that situation, I guess.
Said that Gastineau, he's not in the Hall of Fame yet, and they think that that's one of the reasons why he shouldn't be, but his stats are up there enough where he kind of should be, but he's never gotten in, because if he would have had that record, that would have been kind of like the crowning achievement.
Right.
And put him in. So he's kind of holding a little bit of a grudge over it. So it was, I guess Favre, though, went on social media today and apologized for it.
Right.
Because he's back on it now. It probably, wasn't the smartest thing to do or anything like that. So,
well, I can't. I'm pretty excited to watch that documentary on Friday, because I didn't know much about that, so that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always a fun. They do a pretty good job with those documentaries too. But yeah, I remember from back in the days too, and it was like, oh, okay, because you're watching Strahan, he's going for the record, and then to get it like that was kind of bogus. So,
right.
But then it's just like anything, it just falls, and you don't hear much about it up until now, they're at a card show together. And
yeah, and then it all comes out.
Pretty kind of cool. So. But yeah.
Well, Big Frank, I hope you have a great week, and we'll be talking to you next week, and we'll see how our picks landed. And and good luck to our Monday night doubleheader with our teams. Hopefully,
we can
okay.
The Raiders to the Bears next week. Okay.
There you go. Well, you have a great day. All right, Big Frank.
All right. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, like we always say, that's all we need on this show for NFL. That pretty much covered my entire NFL segment that I was going to do, and that was great. We really appreciate Big Frank coming in on the show because, as I always say, but for any new listeners that we often have, is he's our resident Chicago Bears fan, and he has the tailgating bus thing that's so cool, and they were actually on ESPN Game Day a few weeks back on ESPN whenever they go through the tailgating areas. But I just love it when he comes on. Thanks again, Big Frank. And man, this has been a rough go with the Bears and the Raiders, are both our beloved franchises. But the great thing about sports is we can always look to next year, the future. With my Raiders, we've got Tom Brady that is coming into some sort of an ownership status role. And Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, just yesterday was interviewed on a radio station, and he basically said he wants Tom to be a large part of the management and the drafting process and the free agency process. And I don't know how that will affect Brady's broadcasting career or whatever, but that gives me some hope. I need any kind of hope I can get right now, to be quite honest. But so that's pretty exciting. Yeah. So also, what I forgot to mention when I introed the show was we are live here from the Majestic Coffee Shop at the Neon Parrot Live Studios. Should come get yourself a tasty beverage. And they are good. Okay. So NFL, I'm going to continue with my NFL a little bit before I go back to college. So college guys and gals, just be patient with me. So the game that Big Frank and I were talking about that we loved was the Bills at the Lions. I believe that's correct. It is at Detroit, 3:25 Central Standard Time. I think Big Frank and I both, if they're at home, I believe he picked Detroit. I'm going to go ahead and also pick Detroit there for the plus points. Or excuse me, the minus 2.5. The other game that I love is one of our adopted teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, my boys' team. Philly versus the Eagles. Steelers at the Eagles. Okay. Philly is a 5.5 point favorite. So here's the deal with Philadelphia. This is the other thing I did want to talk to Big Frank about, but I didn't have it on my notes here. So Philly, I believe, has won 9 games in a row. I could be off, but I'm pretty sure they've won a lot. They're like 11-2. I think they've only lost 2 games. They're just winning, but something is off. Their head coach, Sirianni, he was jawing with fans early on in the season. Maybe it was during one of those losses, but Philly fan is like one of the most interesting in all of the world of sports. They had to grease when that year they won the Super Bowl. The police and city officials had to grease the light poles so that the crazy fans couldn't climb to the top of them and maybe fall to their deaths or rip them down or whatever. I believe one Philly fan was seen eating a handful of horse manure. That's true. I saw that. It's pretty rough. But Philly fan is crazy. They're nuts. So even when they're winning, and this is a franchise that has only won one Super Bowl, I believe that's correct, but they expect excellence all the time. So is that crazy, or is it cool, or is it both? I don't know. You make up your mind there. But this trickles down to their actual team. So the receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, have voiced frustration over the passing game because Saquon Barkley, who came from the Giants, is just blowing by the competition. Saquon is the Philadelphia Eagles running back, and he is, I don't know, he may be breaking records. I'm not sure. He could be the comeback player of the year. Who knows? But the receivers, what has never changed in the National Football League? The wide receivers are divas, and even when they're winning, if they don't have the ball in their hands and making the yards, then something's wrong here. So it's kind of typical out of those guys. But we got Steelers at Eagles. Steelers are just, they feel like old school Pittsburgh Steelers, and they got Russell Wilson, who's back from the dead, a phoenix who's risen from the ashes, it seems. And wow, I just love watching him do good and win. I think all this weird, the Eagles are this weird team that, and I think their quarterback, oh dear, what's his name? It'll come to me. The quarterback of the Eagles, I don't love. Jalen. I should know that. Whatever. But I think the Eagles team's just weird, and I think that they're going to crash and burn towards the end of the season. They'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they go very far. And what I'm hoping is, because I don't like Philly, because, we have friends that are Cowboy fans around here, and they're, Cowboys, Eagles, big rivalry. So no, I don't like the Eagles. I never really have. I think their fans are crazy and whatever. So I'm taking the Steelers. Philly's a 5.5-point favorite. This smells like the Steelers of old, the steel curtain. Mike Tomlin is a badass. We've talked about that a lot. Russell Wilson is on his way back from the dead. Let's go Steelers plus 5.5 and maybe sprinkle a couple of coins on the money line for a victory. And you should also probably fade me. That's what we say around here. We talked about the Brett Favre. Whoa, first time ever. We talked about the Brett Favre, Mark Gastineau situation. Gastineau was a Jets player in the 80s. He got the sack record in 84. And, the big controversy is, we covered this, but I just wanted to go over it one more time. The controversy is that Favre, I watched the video this morning, and Favre basically kind of half slides. They shouldn't even have called it a sack, in my opinion, because Favre is sliding as Michael Strahan is, basically kind of laying on him. And I know Favre wasn't thinking about this Gastineau guy at the time, but Gastineau was at the game that Strahan got the record. And these guys, they fight like hell. They really pray to all the football gods that the next young guy doesn't break their record, because, gosh, this is their identity. This is who they are still. Those 2, 3, maybe 6 years of their 20s, have made the rest of their life to some degree, and endorsements, commercials, whatever. But at the end of the day, for some of these guys, the Hall of Fame is what matters most. And, this Gastineau guy has not gotten into the Hall of Fame yet, but I think it'll be interesting because the documentary that's coming out on Friday, ESPN 30 for 30, which are very good, at 8 p.m. Eastern. I believe that's 7 p.m. our time. is they interview a lot of Gastineau's former teammates. And one thing that we find in these interviews is that his teammates say he only ever went after the quarterback when he passed, when he dropped back to pass. Any other play, like when the running back had the ball, he really didn't seem to put forth as much effort. So he was just, that. Now, this is just from a preview of this show. This is some opinions of his former teammates. So I just love these documentaries because they're great. And especially for those of us who weren't alive back then by a year, that didn't get to see all this stuff. It's just adds to the lore of football and sports. So I'm excited for that. And that's my thoughts on the Brett Favre Gastineau situation. Okay, now before we get to college, we're almost there. This is kind of college related. Bill Belichick, the former New England Patriots head coach, the greatest, arguably the greatest professional football coach of all time, depending on what your opinion is on all that. He definitely has a hell of a lot of rings, and he had Tom Brady, blah, blah, blah. He's going to North Carolina, a basketball school. A basketball school that is in the ACC that they just let go Mac Brown, who's like 74. Bill Belichick's like 73. And so I don't really know what the angle is there. I think it's weird. I also know that Bill Belichick at 73 has a 24-year-old girlfriend now, which I'm not hating on the guy, but is he going for the college girls? Maybe. I don't know. But here's the kicker. And this isn't my opinion only breakdown. However, Bill Belichick's son, Steve, is a coach that he takes around with him. And in my opinion, and this isn't my only opinion, only my opinion, but the rumor mill has it that Bill Belichick's going to give North Carolina a couple of years and then hand it over to his son, Steve Belichick. Nepotism at its finest, like we like to talk about. And we could get into LeBron and Bronny again in a moment, which maybe I will, maybe I won't, but nobody really likes NBA that much. But anyways, so who knows, the Bill Belichick to North Carolina thing, it's going to make him relevant. I'm going to watch North Carolina games a little more than I did next year because I'm interested in to see if they suck or if he actually brings something to the table. I think this is some kind of weird move. He's nobody's going to hire him in the NFL because he wants to control too many things. And we saw what happened when Tom Brady left New England. Bill Belichick, that was his last winning season, was the last season that Tom was there. And then, in my opinion, this is not an opinion. Tom Brady won the divorce between Belichick and Brady. Everybody in the world of humanity and love and hate and relationships, there's generally a divorce winner and a divorce loser, and it's pretty clear, generally speaking. And sometimes it's not, but in this case it is. So that's your Belichick stuff. Let's get into college. Okay, we touched on ACU and the historic season and how excited we are for the Wildcats moving forward. Now, the real tasty stuff here is the college football playoff is about to begin next week. The first round begins December 20th and 21st. Oregon is the number 1 seed with Georgia. Boise State and Arizona State also getting bye weeks. Okay, so I'm going to look. I have this right here, and I'm going to make some predictions, picks. So, the schedule, Friday, December 20th, we have number 10 Indiana at number 7 Notre Dame at 8 p.m. on ABC ESPN. So, the way that this bracket business works, That's going to be your first game, and this is going to be pretty crazy. Does Indiana are they as good as they want everybody to think that they are this year? Well, I think Notre Dame, they slipped up early on in the season, but I think Notre Dame's for real, and I think Indiana hasn't, a potential to get exposed here, but that's okay. That's the way this new playoff is working. Saturday, December 21st, you have number 11 SMU at number 6 Penn State at 12 p.m. on TNT, or it looks like HBO Max. So this one right here, SMU Ponies Mustangs are one of my best friend's alma maters. He got his master's degree from there. I believe that's what it was. Master's in business, I think. But I was so excited to see SMU get in the playoff. SMU is coming off of, in the 1980s, I think it was, they got the death penalty from the NCAA because they caught them paying players, giving them Lamborghinis or Porsches or something. Everybody was doing it at that time, but everybody has to have a scapegoat and somebody has to go down for it. Well, SMU, Southern Methodist out of Dallas, they went down for it hard, and they've never recovered. We're talking, that's decades of not really ever recovering from a death penalty from the NCAA. So I was really happy to see them get in, and they're playing number 6 Penn State, who I think Penn State is so overrated. They always Penn State has not been as good as advertised for 2 decades, just about, And yet all the Joe Paterno stuff, we don't have to get into that because nobody wants to, but whatever, that's okay. It wasn't the university. Well, it's nobody's fault now, but Penn State still has this lore and they're just this amazing program. And I'm sorry, Ohio State, what happened? Whenever they played Ohio State kicked their ass just like I knew they would. And, Indiana, let's see, SMU at Penn State. I want SMU to win so bad this game. I will be rooting. I will be ready to rock on that. So I'm not gonna pick a winner because I want to come back next week and just be like, the team that I hoped would win won. All right, moving on. Number 12 Clemson at number 5 Texas. This is where battle of douchebag coaches right here, guys. Okay, Clemson, Dabo Swinney. You belong at a Golden Corral freaking gravy line or something. I don't know, bro. Your name's Dabo. Change it. Do something. Slap your mama. I don't know. I don't like him. That's okay. At number 5, Texas Longhorns. I don't like the Texas Longhorns for a host of different reasons, which, I don't have to get into crazily. But Steve Sarkisian, their coach, we won't call him a douchebag. We'll just call his white pants not cool. He wears this like coming out of, okay, I got one for you, Travis. The coach from Texas, I dare you to pull up what he wears at the game and then think Righteous Gemstones. Because this guy could be on Righteous Gemstones as one of those preachers, okay? He just wears these freaking white pants that could blind you. But anyways, I don't know. A part of me wants Texas to win this game but I don't know. I'm not going to pick. I don't really care what happens. I hope it's a good game. But part of me wants Clemson to win. Hey, how about this? Can either one of these teams not win? How about that? Let's see if that'll happen. Okay. Then we have number 9, Tennessee at number 8, Ohio State, 8 p.m. Okay, Ohio State, another school that just got beat by Michigan on their home turf. We talked about that last week about the flag planting and all the, fighting and pepper spraying and blood and everything else. But I want number 9 Tennessee to beat Ohio State by 24 points because I just, some people they just pick to be good every year because college football is so much about pageantry, about history, about all these things, but it doesn't necessarily translate into reality when it comes to who's better than whom at the end of the year. We're getting better with this. It's getting better because of this college football playoff, and we're expanding it. So we're allowing for more competition into the end of the season. So Tennessee, Volunteers, I want you to beat Ohio State bad. And I want it to be ugly. And that's what I feel about that. Because Tennessee, man, we don't talk about them much, but yeah, go Vols. Trav's from Tennessee. So their coach is really good that they picked like 3-4 years ago. The Tennessee alumni were not happy with the pick. It was pretty obvious on the interwebs, but he's really done a great job. And Tennessee, whoever their donors are, or the state or the governor has pumped about $1 bazillion into their new facilities. Like, because that's also how you get these kids to want to come to your school. It is very much about, can you get me to the NFL, which Tennessee is in the SEC. All these teams can get you to the NFL. Can I win a title? Okay, that starts to factor in. But then again, the end factor is who's got the coolest cafeteria, lounge rooms, locker rooms, PlayStation, Xbox pods. I mean, you wouldn't believe, unless some of you guys have seen some of these places, you would not believe Tennessee's facilities. It is out of this world. Like, these guys are basically going to a day spa every day that they can play video games in and eat the best food and all these things. And that's how you recruit these kids, man. That's how you do it. So now this says, so yeah, we want the Volunteers to win that. And then quarterfinals are Tuesday, December 31st. That's going to be the other side of that's going to be like your Oregon Ducks and everybody. Okay. Yeah, so we'll get into that later. We're just going to cover the first part of all this. And should we call our resident Aggie and just make him fire off some quick picks? I think we should. We'll make it quick. If he answers, this may be the first week that he does. And you know what's funny? I never tell him that I'm going to call him, which makes this even more fun for me. 'Cause sometimes he works a night shift some days, and sometimes he doesn't pick up. See if he does.
This is Blake.
Blake,
What up?
it's Ben. You're on the breakdown, dude. Act like you know me.
Hello.
What's going on?
Oh, trying to get these packages delivered. What are y'all doing?
Oh, my bad, dude. But
No, you're good.
okay, so
I just didn't lost track of time there.
okay, so here's the deal. I'm gonna make it quick today, but I want you to give me picks, and we'll see,
Okay.
and then we're gonna see if they line up with my picks.
Okay.
Okay, so Friday, December 20th, number 10 Indiana at number 7 Notre Dame. Who you got?
I think Notre Dame.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, Saturday, December 21st, number 11 SMU at number 6 Penn State. Who you got?
I think Penn State.
Damn it. Yeah, I think you might be right, but I'm rooting for SMU hard.
Well, Penn State played Oregon really well and played Ohio State really well. And that's what I'm marking it off of. SMU has not played You know what I mean?
Yeah, they just haven't had the. Yeah.
They just haven't had the strength. Now, I could be dead wrong. They may come out. You know what I mean? We all know that's college football.
Yeah.
But just what it looks like is Penn State should have no problem.
Okay.
Number 5 and number 6 should have the easiest route to the
like the quarterfinal or whatever. Yeah. So I would agree with that. I just bashed Penn State so hard, but you're probably right.
Yeah, I know.
So, number 12, Clemson. At number 5, Texas.
I think Texas takes Clemson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said
Texas picked in that one.
I said that,
and I still stand by my word, though.
Yeah.
Texas has yet to beat a top 25 team. Period.
You know, and I call this game's the battle of the douchebag coaches.
That's exactly what it is. That's both of their claim to fames.
Yeah, white pants or whatever. Okay, now here, this one I'm rooting hard for an SEC team. Number 9 Tennessee at number 8 Ohio State. Can Tennessee pull this off?
I think Tennessee can, but man, Ohio State just has. They're Ohio State for a reason. Like they always are in the talk. They're always up. You know, and it's hard to bet against them.
That's right.
Really hard. But they lost to Michigan the final game of the season. Now that is a rivalry game. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from rivalry games, but I mean, Michigan. I think that's Michigan's only thing they've done the whole year.
Yeah, all year was beat
beat
Ohio State's ass.
Beat Ohio State. So. I mean, it's just going to depend. Ohio State may be pissed off. They may come out ready to go, but I think that Tennessee's a solid football team. So it's going to be close, but I would like to see Tennessee. If you're wanting to just take a gamble, that's the one I would gamble on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
would pick Tennessee over Ohio State, but, you know, it's hard to pick against Ohio State because they're Ohio State, for the love of God.
You know who else I want to be the real thing so bad is my Arizona State Sun Devils.
Dude. I have in my bracket. I actually a little fun tidbit for you. I have Texas going to play them and them upsetting Texas.
Oh, that would be so cool.
And
you know, last weekend when we
he's my hero.
Last weekend when we were watching the games at the local watering hole, you were like, Arizona State's going to take this, and I bet the other way and lost my ass on that game.
Well, I had no doubt in that one. Like, I just thought, unless Arizona State just didn't show, Arizona State's a better football team. They're better rounded.
Right.
Now, they've struggled a little bit this year, but they're a new – this is all new to them. So we really don't know how they're going to handle this kind of pressure. But they got a rest week. They're going to come back healthy. They've had very minimal injuries coming into all this. So that's why I kind of got them picked in my upset, you know, that second round of playoffs.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, hey man, thanks for joining the breakdown, and we'll talk to you next week and see how we came out on our picks.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, buddy. We'll see you later.
All right, let's see.
Bye. All right, that was cool. All right, so yeah, the only one that I hate is he thinks Penn State's gonna roll, and I hate that because I don't like them because I think their uniforms are boring. How about that? Suck on that. Okay, we're starting to slow down our show here. Tonight, NHL. How about that? We haven't talked about the NHL in a couple weeks because things have been so crazy with football. But we're like starting to really creep into the NHL here. And tonight, I'm just going to follow my adopted NHL team, and that is the Bruins at the Kraken, the Seattle Kraken. My Kraken. The Bruins are a 1.5-point favorite. I am going to bet on the Kraken to win that game. And I may lose, but I don't care because we're in it for the Kraken because they have cool uniforms. We do not like teams that have crappy uniforms. Okay, we're getting into the Christmas season here. You know, favorite Christmas movie all time. Don't care what anybody thinks. You know, Sammy's producer extraordinary. Sammy says Die Hard, and I tend to agree with him. That is in a category of its own. So Die Hard is the ultimate Christmas movie. Now, underneath Die Hard. Die Hard is its own Christmas category. Underneath that are a host of movies, lots of different movies. My favorite, I don't think you can argue it, but it does put me in a box due to this will age me as well. But I think it was 2001, maybe. Love Actually is the best Christmas movie of all time. It has everything. It is a British superstar of actors, collaboration, just grenade going off. You got Keira Knightley. Come on. You got Alan Rickman, Snape from Harry Potter. You got all these other incredible British actors. Colin Firth of Bridget Jones' Diary. You got who's the big one? Notting Hill. Hugh Grant. Come on. Like, he plays the prime minister. Billy Bob Thornton shows up as the president. I mean, I could just keep going, but that is all that is coming to my mind at the moment. But, oh my gosh, if you haven't, you're breakdown listeners, so I'm guessing you've all seen Love Actually. But sit down with your loved ones. Maybe it's not necessarily for kids, because there's a couple of scenes there where there's some definitely some naked stuff going on. But I will say, Love Actually is actually my favorite Christmas movie. And okay, so I'm gonna like, as we get closer to Christmas, because it is right around the corner, I'm gonna kind of rank some Christmas movies. I think I'm gonna ask Big Frank what his favorite Christmas movie is next week. But I think we all know what it's gonna be because he's from Chicago, and I think that's gonna have a little bit of Clark Griswold in it. But I wanna do some Christmas movie polling amongst the Breakdown listeners, Breakdown fam. I want to talk about sports movies. What's the best sports movie? What are the top 5 sports movies? And that all kind of depends on what you're looking for. So let's see. Yeah, we want to thank our hair and makeup, Jan, from down the street at the beauty barn. She did a great job on this guy today. Trav's show with Councilman Dr. Travis Craver. I know his name. He's a very nice man. For a politician, I guess, usually I hate politicians, all of them. And I like him. I got an opportunity to talk to him before the show, and he seemed very nice. I've known him for a long time, but we're acquainted. We're not, we don't know each other that well. So it was really kind of nice to get to talk to him. December 13th, which is tomorrow, Friday the 13th, we have another show at the Cotton Warehouse Live, and we got Cash and the Change. We have a host of other wonderful artists. We're going to have lots of solo stoves, fire pits, propane heaters, although it's not going to be that cold. But, now that it finally broke 90 degrees here in Abilene, Texas, everybody's acting like it's freaking Big Frank's Chicago, 21 degrees with a wind chill of, 2, snowing sideways. Well, guess what, Abilene? It's not. So you can go out and have some fun outdoors with some live music and put a freaking hoodie on or a fleece and you'll be fine. It'll be fun. Okay, so just to make sure I'm not missing anything else. Bill Belichick, college chicks, sports movies, Christmas movies. Okay. Tonight, NFL Thursday night game, Rams at Niners. San Fran, 3-point favorite. I am taking the Rams and Matty the Stafford, that I hate to bet against and I won't do it again this season. Go Rams. Go Matt Stafford. Beat the Niners. And Brock pretty good. So, thank you, Breakdown. Thank you to my incredible technical producer extraordinaire, Sam Wolf. And thank you to the Majestic Coffee Shop. and the Neon Parrot Live Studios. Come check out this beautiful historic building in downtown Abilene, Texas. And I hope you all have a wonderful week and an even better weekend. I'm taking my lady to San Antonio, Riverwalk. It'll be real nice. And we're going to do a little bit of that. It's her birthday. But anyways, yeah, hopefully there's some good margaritas, some good food. Who knows? But here's to you, Breakdown. Here's to you and yours. Here's to winning money this weekend. Here's to Penn State losing. And I hope you all have a lovely day. Sam's about to take me out. Oh, yeah. Breakdown. Win some money. Penn State, you suck. Texas, your coach looks like the Righteous Gemstone guy. Dabo Sweeney from Clemson, you suck. You wear khakis that look like they're from Walmart.